Welcome back, everybody. Well, today let's try to fix our mess up. If you saw my last video, we poured this concrete pad for a house and a garage, but our back wall blew out on us. It had rained, saturated this soil. The pins were just basically in mud, so it allowed this back wall to push. But today I'm gonna make it straight. When I form my concrete, I basically took into account the thickness of what my wall sheathing will be. So this will be the framing, and then my sheathing will set flush with the exterior of the concrete, so that way I can get a good seal in between my sheathing and the concrete. What you doing, Smokey? Well, if you can see down through there, I've got a chalk line. That's where the edge of the concrete was supposed to be. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna saw this line, and then that'll create my straight exterior to where my sheathing will sit down flush with it, and I can seal that seam. But all I'm gonna do is cut it down probably 2 inches, 2.5 inches, and then I'll break this corner out, and then I'll be able to get my seal the way I want it against my concrete. This will be underground after I backfill everything, so nobody will ever know it, except me and all you that watch this video. Well, I was gonna saw me a straight line. It looks as though the old rental concrete saw's got a little issue. Well, back to town, see if we can get another one. I've never run one of those saws before, but after you get the feel for it, it does a really good job. Let's see if we can go back now that we've got it cut and see if we can break this corner off. I've probably cut it down 2.5 inches deep, but I don't really want to go in here and pry on this because I'm afraid it'll crack me up here. So I'm just gonna see if we can peck it along through here and see if it'll break out. Came out like it had some sense. We might be on to something. Well, I think I managed to straighten my concrete up. That actually sawed out pretty nice, so framing will go down, sheathing will go down flush with that edge, and then I'll be able to seal it. So no harm, no foul. A little extra work, we got it straightened up, and we're ready for some walls to go up. Little update on our building schedule. The framer, he came up here today, and he took the plans and he basically chalked all my walls on the floor and got everything laid out, and he'll be up here Monday morning to start standing some walls. But the thing I worried about the most when laying this thing out was making sure that my pipes all hit in the walls where they were supposed to. So let's go around here and check and see how we did. Well, this one turned out pretty good. We're right in the center. That'll come up and catch the refrigerator. This one turned out good. That one will come up and catch a water fill for the stove. The 4 of these turned out good. This is for the boys' bathroom vanity, and then my water lines coming in and out. And then where my bathtub will be, that 2x4 will run and hang over this hole. And so that way the drain will be able to come up right beside that 2x4 to clear the bathtub, but then you'll have room to get back in here and be able to, you know, when you glue this up, to be able to get your hand in here to work something on over that. Then it'll come out here and catch the tub. So that all worked out pretty good. The toilets appear to be coming up in the right spot. The showers, they worked out the measurements off of my wall. There'll be a wall that centers these in between these two showers. So everything looks to be good there. And the one that I cut it a little close on, but I can live with that. That'll be for a future laundry room. If these kids, we can ever get them out of the house, we're gonna move the laundry room, which will be in the garage. We'll move it in here in this little office, playroom, whatever you want to call it. I'll go ahead and put my water lines in the wall, and I'll have my drain in place, and I'll go ahead and run 220 over here and stub it up in the wall. So when they leave and we got a little more elbow room, we'll move the laundry room in here, make life a little bit easier. I delivered all of our framing material yesterday for all the walls. So we've got 16-foot stuff back there for the garage walls, and then I'm gonna put 9-foot ceilings in here on the main house, and then I'm gonna sheathe it with this zip system board. I just like that stuff. I like the way you can seal the seams on it, and it seems to be pretty good stuff. So that's what I ended up going with versus just standard OSB and then putting house wrap on. I've got my LVLs for my headers over my garage doors, and something I'm proud of is all these stack of studs and all those 2x10s were all the materials that I formed the house with, in which those will end up being rafters in that breezeway, and these will end up being wall studs that we'll use inside the house. So I was glad to be able to pull all those off, be able to reuse them versus having to throw, there's probably $1,500, $2,000 worth of lumber there. If you've not seen any of my prior videos, I ended up on my forms, I took a second piece of plastic, wrapped up over my forms, and then they came up on the inside of the form, back down, and then went back up underneath my vapor barrier that lapped over it. So taking these forms off was easy. Once I took my standards that was holding everything straight, I took them up, I was able to just pop that form off, unscrew them, and you saw them over there in a pile. We'll be able to reuse them and save old Travis a little bit of money. When the lumber company, they brought the materials, I had them sort of divided out to where this would be on the house for the most part. Some of that zip board will go in the garage. I had them try to place that stuff pretty close to where these guys framing it, they'd be able to grab it and go right on the slab. Then the garage stuff is back there, so it'll make life a little easier on them. But I've got part of that old bale of hay that I spread out up here to keep from being in the mud. So before it gets dark this evening, I'm gonna take some of that hay and go around the slab, and that way, if we get the rain they're calling for, these guys, when they come up here Monday and start framing, they won't be tracking all that mud out here on this slab and be such a muddy mess. Let's hope it works anyway. Well, hopefully the next housing video you see from me will have some lumber standing in the air. I'm glad to have this slab behind me, and I'm thankful that all my plumbing seems to turned up in the right place. That's sort of a load lifted. But once the guys get the walls framed for the house and the garage, our trusses are about 2.5, 3 weeks out. So they should have everything framed up and braced up, and they'll be ready for trusses when they come. Once they get the house framed and everything done, I've got to come back and then form this up, and then we've got a porch that goes around 3 sides of the house. So once the house is pretty well done, I'll come back, form this up, we'll pour it, and then we'll build the porch around it. But anyway, I'm glad that we're making progress. But if you watch this one, I appreciate it, and we'll see you later.